Atlanta was alive with movement, car horns, chatter, and the smell of roasted coffee from street cafes. Among the crowd, Naomi Carter stood out effortlessly. Her dark chocolate skin glowed against her white nurse's uniform, her afro curls neatly tucked beneath her cap. Her colleagues often said, "When Naomi walks into a room, peace follows." At St. James Medical Center, Naomi was known for her grace under pressure. She could calm the most difficult patients with her soothing tone. "Miss Carter," said Dr. Lewis one morning, handing her a file, "you're one of the few nurses here who still treats this job like a calling, not a paycheck." Naomi smiled faintly. "Because healing isn't a job, doctor. It's a ministry." Outside, people whispered admiration. "That woman's got her life together," one nurse said. "Always neat, always smiling. I bet she's never had a bad day." But that was where they were wrong. Naomi smiled beautifully, but inside, she carried a story no one knew, a story she buried beneath professionalism and quiet kindness. Every night, when others went home, Naomi's second life began. At exactly 10:45 p.m., Naomi clocked out of the hospital. She told everyone she worked part-time at a nearby clinic. It was believable. She was hard-working, responsible, and always doing extra shifts. But instead of heading to another clinic, she drove toward the city's edge, Edgewood Avenue, where abandoned buildings stood in silence. Between two forgotten warehouses was a small gate with a flickering sign, House of Light. Inside, a warm light glowed from old lamps and scented candles. Women of all ages sat around a wooden table, eating simple meals, some laughing, others crying softly. They called her Sister Grace. No one knew her real name was Naomi Carter, the respected nurse. Here, she wasn't a hospital professional. She was a healer of broken spirits. A young woman hugged her tightly. "Sister Grace, thank you for letting me stay. My boyfriend nearly killed me last week." Naomi smiled gently. "You're safe now, child. This place is for new beginnings." Her eyes softened as she looked around. "If only they knew," she whispered to herself. "I once sat in that same corner, crying just like them." Naomi's nightmares often took her back to that one apartment, small, dimly lit, with walls that echoed with cruelty. At 21, she had been in love with Derek Miles, a charming man who swept her off her feet. He was smooth, confident, and handsome. He brought flowers, opened doors, whispered sweet things. But soon, the love turned dark. "Why are you talking to that man at work?" he'd yell. "He's just my supervisor," she'd stammer. The first slap shocked her. The second broke her heart. Night after night, she lived in fear. Once, he threw a glass across the room because she took too long answering a call. One stormy night, he came home drunk, accusing her of cheating. When she tried to explain, he beat her until she blacked out. When she woke up, blood trickled down her lip. That night, she ran barefoot into the rain and never looked back. 2 weeks later, she met Mother Lillian, an old church woman who found her shivering near a bus stop. "My child," the woman said softly, wrapping her in a shawl, "you are not broken, you are being reborn." Mother Lillian became Naomi's refuge. She nursed her wounds, gave her a place to sleep, and taught her to pray again. "You don't heal by hiding your scars," the old woman said. "You heal by helping others heal." When Mother Lillian died 2 years later, Naomi was heartbroken. But she found a note in the woman's Bible. "When you find your strength, build a light for others." That note became her mission. Naomi sold her few belongings, saved her nurse's salary, and rented a broken warehouse. She spent nights cleaning, painting, and transforming it into what she later named House of Light. It became a secret haven, a place for women escaping violence, pain, and homelessness. To the world, Naomi was Nurse Carter. To the broken, she was Sister Grace, the woman who never slept, who prayed with strangers, who offered hope. But she knew the day would come when the past she escaped might find her again. 3 years later, on a stormy night, police officers brought in a bruised girl. She says her name is Tasha Brown, Officer Parker told Naomi. Looks like a domestic case. Naomi rushed forward. You're safe, sweetheart, she whispered as she cleaned the girl's wounds. Tasha looked terrified. He'll find me, she muttered. He always does. Naomi smiled sadly. He won't. Not here. But as she lifted Tasha's sleeve to apply ointment, she froze. A tattoo, a black rose with a dagger, marked her wrist. Naomi's heart skipped. That was Derek's tattoo. He used to boast that anyone close to him carried that mark. Naomi stepped away, trying to hide her fear. Who gave you that tattoo? She asked softly. My boyfriend, Tasha whispered. Derek Miles. The name echoed through the room like thunder. Naomi barely slept that night. She sat in her office at the shelter, trembling. Derek was alive. Worse, he was here, in Atlanta. She opened her laptop and searched prison records. Her blood ran cold. Derek Miles, released 6 months ago. Current address, unknown. He could be anywhere. Watching. Waiting. The next morning, she stared at her reflection in the mirror. After all these years, she whispered, I still can't escape him. At work, her hands shook as she drew blood for patients. Her colleague Dr. Marcus Hill noticed. Naomi, you okay? You look pale. She forced a smile. Didn't sleep much. Marcus frowned. You're always helping everyone. Who's helping you? Naomi avoided his gaze. I'm fine, Marcus. Really? But that night, she double-locked her doors, checked her windows twice, and whispered, Lord, not again. 3 days later, he came. Naomi was checking a patient's vitals when she felt a chill. She turned, and there he was. Derek Miles. He was older, his face leaner, but the same sinister smirk lingered. Naomi, he drawled, his deep voice cold. You've changed. She froze, her clipboard trembling. What do you want? To talk. He stepped closer, grinning. You really think you could disappear? I looked for you everywhere. Her breath hitched. You're not supposed to be here. Oh, relax. I'm not here to hurt you. Not yet. He leaned in, whispering, You've been busy. Sister Grace. Naomi's heart stopped. How did you? He chuckled. You forget, baby. I know how to find secrets. And with that, he walked away, leaving her shaking. Naomi's world started falling apart. She stopped sleeping. Her hands trembled when she spoke at the shelter. The women noticed. Sister Grace, you okay? Asked Tasha. I'm fine, Naomi lied. But Derek's words haunted her. He knows. That evening, she met Marcus at a cafe. I need to tell you something, she said. He leaned forward. I'm listening. She told him about her past, the abuse, the escape, the shelter, the fear. Marcus sat silently, stunned. Naomi, he said finally, why didn't you tell me? Because I thought I was free. You are free, he said firmly, and I won't let him take that from you. But Naomi shook her head. You don't understand Derek. He doesn't stop until he destroys. Marcus reached for her hand. Then we'll destroy his power instead. Days later, Naomi found a note under her door. Meet me at the old bridge, midnight. Come alone, or the world will know who you really are. Her stomach twisted. Derek wanted to expose Sister Grace. At midnight, she arrived. The bridge was silent, water flowing dark beneath. Derek stood in the shadows. I see you came. What do you want? She demanded. He smiled. Money. No. I want your peace. I want you to suffer like I did. You destroyed yourself, Naomi said calmly. His face hardened. You left me in that cell. You put yourself there. He stepped closer, voice low and venomous. I could tell everyone your precious shelter is built on lies. You hide your name, your past. What will they think when they find out the Angel of Atlanta was once a beaten girl? Naomi's eyes glistened. Maybe they'll see how far grace can go. Derek didn't know Marcus had followed Naomi. Hidden behind a car, Marcus recorded the confrontation. When Derek lunged forward, grabbing Naomi's arm, Marcus shouted, "Let her go!" Derek snarled. "Who the hell are you?" "Someone who's not afraid of you," Marcus snapped. Naomi cried, "Marcus, stay back!" But Derek charged at him. They struggled, fists flying. Naomi screamed as Derek shoved Marcus to the ground and fled into the night. Marcus groaned, clutching his side. Naomi knelt beside him, trembling. "Marcus, are you okay?" He winced. "Yeah, but I got it all on video. His threats, everything." Tears filled Naomi's eyes. "You shouldn't have followed me." He smiled weakly. "You think I'd let you walk into danger alone?" For the first time, Naomi didn't argue. She just held his hand, whispering, "Thank you." The next morning, Marcus handed the video to the police. Detective Williams nodded after watching. "We'll issue a warrant immediately." "You're lucky he didn't pull a weapon." Naomi sighed. "Lucky isn't what I feel." Meanwhile, the women at the shelter grew restless. They noticed the security cameras and extra police patrol. "Sister Grace, is something wrong?" one asked. Naomi smiled gently. "Just making sure we're safe." Later, she found Tasha crying. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" Tasha whispered, "They said on the news they're looking for a man named Derek Miles." Naomi froze. "You know him?" Tasha nodded slowly. "He's my boyfriend, or was." Naomi's world tilted. "Tasha, he's the same man who hurt me." Both women cried quietly, one from past wounds, one from recent fear, united by pain caused by the same monster. 2 nights later, it happened. Naomi was preparing dinner at the shelter when the door burst open. Derek stormed in, gun in hand. Women screamed and ducked. "Grace!" he shouted. "Or should I say Naomi Carter?" Naomi stepped forward slowly, hands raised. "Derek, please. You think you're better than me now," he roared. "You stole Tasha. You ruined my life." "She's not your property," Naomi said firmly. "You don't own anyone." Tasha sobbed from behind the table. "Please, Derek, stop." He aimed the gun at Naomi. "You left me broken, and now I'll break you too." Suddenly, flashing lights filled the windows, police sirens wailing. Marcus, watching remotely through the shelter cameras, had called 911. Officers stormed in. "Drop your weapon." Derek shouted, "You'll never win." But before he could move, they tackled him to the ground. Naomi sank to her knees, trembling as the cuffs clicked shut. Naomi's double life was no longer hidden. Reporters camped outside the hospital and the shelter. At a press conference, a journalist asked, "Why did you hide your identity for so long?" Naomi smiled softly. "Because healing doesn't need attention. It needs compassion." Tasha stood beside her, holding her hand. "She saved me when no one else would. She's the reason I'm alive." Naomi's eyes glistened. "We all have pasts. What matters is what we do with the pain." Her words went viral across social media. People called her the secret angel of Atlanta. For Naomi, though, the true victory was seeing peace in the eyes of women who once lived in fear. A week later, Naomi met Marcus in the hospital garden. "Everything's changing," she said quietly. Reporters, donations, interviews. It's overwhelming. Marcus smiled. You built something beautiful, Naomi. The world's just catching up. She looked at him gratefully. You risked your life for me. He chuckled. You would have done the same. They sat in silence for a while, listening to the fountain. Then Marcus said softly, You know, you've spent years saving others. Maybe it's time to let someone save you, even if it's just from loneliness. Naomi blushed slightly. Are you offering? He smiled. I'm here. Always will be. And for the first time in a long time, Naomi allowed herself to hope, not for survival, but for love. Months later, House of Light became an official non-profit organization, recognized by the city. Naomi expanded it, creating counseling programs, job training, and housing for women in need. Every morning, she walked through the new building, sunlight streaming through the windows, and remembered how far she'd come. Reporters still tried to label her as the beautiful lady with a secret. But Naomi knew the real secret wasn't the shelter. It was her strength, the quiet courage born from pain, the ability to love after being broken, the grace to forgive. One evening, she stood before the women in the main hall and said, We are not defined by what hurt us. We are defined by how we rise. Applause filled the room. Naomi smiled, no longer hiding, no longer afraid. Her beauty wasn't in her flawless skin or kind eyes. It was in her resilience, her compassion, and the light she carried in a dark world. And that was the secret of the beautiful lady that no one knew.